Today's tutorial features one of our dinosaurs that we've just created. They coordinate with a collection that Kaytlyn and I have coming out called Born to Roar. They're a little bit challenging maybe, and we just thought it would be really good for us to show you how we put them together. And I think if we show you one of them, you'll be able to kind of understand with the rest of them, and we'll show you a lot of those dinosaurs when we get through this. First of all, what I want to tell you is one of the products that you're going to want to have in your sewing room is a fusible mat. And if you don't have one for applique, you're going to want to get one. The one that I have showing right here is a 12 by 18 mat. We have two different sizes. We have the 12 by 18 and we also have a 12 by 12. Some of our appliques are a little bit larger, and so I would recommend the 12 by 18, but if you're doing small pieces, this one is the one to have, and I'll show you why I love this product. Now, keep in mind that the fusible mat is meant to be ironed on, and so I have gals go, well, I don't want to put my iron on it because I don't want it to melt. That's what it's for, and so I'll show you. Another thing that I love about the silicone mats is when you put a piece down, even before you iron it, it sticks. So you're going to want to iron it because you want to put everything together, but it keeps the pieces from sticking or from moving around a lot. Our pre-cuts, we use Heat and Bond Light. There's a lot of different fusibles out there. It's the one that we prefer to use with our laser cut appliques. The fusible, because it's a light, it's meant to be stitched. So when we get through this, I'm going to give you some applique tips that I like to use that kind of might help in the applique process. So the guy that we're going to do today is the pterodactyl. They're bright, they're colorful, there's just lots of different little pieces, and I want to show you, the process that we go through to put this together. Now, what we're going to have for you is we have a full color design of the dinosaur on the inside cover, as well, of course, on the outside, but it's sometimes easier to see with the color photo, the color picture, where the pieces go. So I always keep that right next to my iron. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is this is what we refer to as the layout. The layout is the black and white drawing that all the pieces get kind of matched up with. Now, putting these appliques together is like putting together a puzzle. First thing you want to do is to put that layout underneath your silicone mat. Now, I think you can see that you can still see through that. So you're going to see where all these pieces go. I have quite a few of my pieces already pulled apart and clipped apart, but I want to show you that when you get your applique, it has the fusible on the back, and what you're going to want to do is just kind of bend a little corner, and you're going to want to pull that backing paper off. Now, I think you can see that the shininess, that's the fusible, is left on the fabric. Now, there's a lot of pieces in here. The reason you want to take this off first is it's just easier to take it off on the big piece than it is to when you clip it apart and take it off individually. So we're going to get this all apart. And I got one more little piece here. Just set these aside. Now, as you can see, we have all of your pieces, and there's lots of little ticks in there that hold the pieces together. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to just snip those apart. I like to use just kind of a little small, I use these small little embroidery scissors to cut these apart. It's just easier to get into small spaces. Now, some of your pieces, you're going to wonder, is this an applique piece or is this a piece that gets tossed? Don't throw anything away until the applique is completely assembled. And that way you won't lose pieces. we've tried over the years to prevent loss of pieces by putting all of one color of the items together, and that's why when we put them together with these ticks, then we have a lot less lost pieces. So I'm just going to lay these out, and it's so fun to see how these characters come to life when you put them together. Okay, just about got this one done, and I'm going to set this piece aside. Now, on this piece, and you're going to kind of see there's a lot of little kind of dots in the middle, and those we want to snip out. Your pattern will say snip the excess dots out. They're held on by just a small tick. We're going to clip those out when we're snipping the pieces apart. And the reason we want to clip these out is because there's a color that needs to show through. Now, you'll see on this little piece, it looks very much the same, but these are the eyeballs. And there again, if you look at your picture, you're going to see that it has the little green eyeballs. So that's why we say to do not throw anything away until you get it completely assembled, because you may have tossed away something that you needed. This one we've done a little reverse, and a lot of the dinosaurs we did this way. Instead of putting the spots on the top, we put them underneath, so they're a little easier to handle. So on the finished layout underneath here, and I will pick this up and just show you again, there is a dashed line on your pieces. That dashed line indicates that that piece goes underneath something. It indicates the overlap. Sorry if my iron keeps beeping at you. That's just telling me it's turning off. So you'll see those dashed lines, and you can see those through there. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling the pterodactyl. Now, when you look at the color drawing, you can see that this green lies underneath because there's the dashed line that goes underneath it. So that's how we've kind of helped with not so many small pieces. So because this is full scale, you can kind of see where that piece goes, and you can see that this piece lies right in here. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to put this piece down. Now, I recommend that you just tack it with the tip of your iron. It makes it a lot easier to move your pieces around if you do it that way. So when this is going to be your friend, you're going to see that all the spots are all underneath. That's indicated by the dashed line. So those pieces you're going to want to put down first. Okay, so we've got those down. And there again, you're going to want to tack those, because if you need to move them, then you can move them. Now, keep looking at this. You're going to see more green up in here. That's right here. We're going to put these down. And like we said earlier, these have a lot of pieces, but oh, they're so much fun when you see them coming together. These little claws get put down. This one goes over here. Now, sometimes the pieces are a little hard to pick up, and one thing I like to do is I kind of stab it with a pin, and then it's a little easier to work with, and I can just poke it down there where I want it. Get it right in place. And there again, you want to tack those down. Now, let's see here. I can see that my green piece, and you see how it goes over the dots and it creates those spots. Just a second, gotta get it a little, and it's just like putting together a puzzle. This one goes over here. Now some of these you're going to have to tuck in here or there. So, whoopsie, that one moved on me. There we go. If it tucks in, that's why you don't want to iron it completely down. Okay, now these pieces look kind of funky, as you can see. This guy goes up here, and you will see how it fits right in there. Tack him down. Then we've got the outside pieces of the wing. Now, when you get down, you know, where they come together here, and I will show you here before we put this piece on, some of your pieces may have a slit in it. And this piece right here, there's a slit. That means there's something that goes in that. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to set that back aside. I'm going to put his feet on. Let's see, we need to get that tacked down first. Keep looking at your color photo. This goes underneath. And then we have, now, I think you can see right here, there's the tip of this beak. And so that's how you're going to know where that piece goes. Plus there's a piece, there's right underneath here that you can see it. Okay, I actually have to slip this up just a hair. That's why you want to just tack it with the tip of your iron. And then we've got, this finishes our guy with the tail. Okay, I'm going to tack it down here. And then I'm going to bring it up here. And you're going to see a slit, and it's sometimes easier just to kind of open it up and slit that in, and you'll see that that foot goes right there. In this fun how this all goes together, and it's crazy because it all comes together. Now the wing is going to slip into this slit. There we go, and this goes underneath. Now you can see why you don't want to iron it down until you've got all your pieces together. Now we've got to put the eyes on, and we've got, I'm looking at my color photo as to where they go. We've got the eyelids, which are small, so I like to use my pin to put them in place. And then the eyeballs. And those, stick them with your pin and put them in place. Once you have everything where you want it, take your iron and run it over the entire applique. And most of these are going to take 3 to 5 seconds anyway to get your fusible to activate. If you take it off here and you have a piece that falls off, you can re-iron it, so that's not a problem. And we're going to let this cool, and then when we do, I'm going to show you how it peels right off, and you have one piece that you're working with, and you can see that your fusible stays on the back side. So when you go to put that on something, that's what you'll fuse it with, is with the fusible. So I'm going to see if this, it's not quite cool enough. So some of the other dinosaurs that we have, I'm not going to say them, not going to name them, but I'm just going to show them to you. This guy's missing an eye. But you can see the colorful little characters. And these all coordinate with Born to Roar. Now, you can see, and I'll flip this over, you can see that there's pieces that are underneath, and that's what creates the spots, like on this guy. So that's all been explained in what we did with the pterodactyl. So the spots, they aren't pieces on the top, they're pieces on the back side. And those are all, like I said, indicated with that dashed line. Here's the T-Rex. Oh, he's fun. They're bright and colorful. Triceratops, I do remember this one. Aren't these fun? Just imagine these on all kinds of things, pillows and quilts and storage cubes, and there's a lot. We have an applique quilt. We have a quilt that these all go on that you'll be able to order if you choose. We'll have it as a pattern that you can cut your own, or we'll have it as a pre-cut pack. And then of course we have the Born to Roar letters, all looking like little dinosaurs. We've got the eggs for the O's, we've got footprints, and there'll be a little button in the center of those eyes. So those turned out so fun. Now, just to kind of give you some other little tips that I like to do and use when I am doing the applique. Now I want to show you with this guy first how and I know I've got a piece here that didn't get ironed very well, but you can kind of see how we pull that off and he's all together. So definitely one of these mats is a must-have. One of the other things that I talk about in my patterns that I really like, it's a perforated stabilizer. And you might ask, why do you use a stabilizer? Well, the stabilizer is used if you're sewing through a single layer of fabric. So if you're making a pillow and you're putting an applique, say on a block, you've got a single layer of fabric, you're going to want to use a stabilizer. And a stabilizer stabilizes the stitches. So if you've ever stitched something and you get a real wavy effect, that's because you need a stabilizer to stabilize those stitches. So this one, the reason I like it so much is, number one, it's very soft, it's very pliable, so it doesn't stiffen your project. Also then, you will cut a piece a little larger than the applique. You'll put it underneath on the back side of the fabric, directly under the applique, pin it in the corners, and then stitch through those layers. When you get it all stitched, you'll tear the excess off around the edges of the applique. So we do have this available by the yard on the website. A couple other things that I like to use, a couple of different pens, and one of the things that I'll tell you to do is to draw in your detail lines. Now, what are the detail lines, you might ask? Well, on this guy, the detail lines might be, say, the lines through the wings. That just gives it a detail, so it looks like it might be pieced, but it's not. So what I recommend is, if you have a light table, put this on a light table and put this over the top. Or if you don't have a light table, you might just do it by the light of a window. Now, because I can see these, one of the things I like to use is either a disappearing quilter's pen, and I can see where these lines come out. Now, this will automatically disappear, and you can see those lines. Now, I would stitch that with, say, a back stitch or a straight stitch, just to give it a little bit more definition. Now, another pen that I love to use, and these are, they'll disappear when you iron them. So this one, I can see I've got a line that comes through here, and a line that comes through here, and then I've got one here. Now, what I want to show you, and I'll have to bring my mat back over here, what I want to show you is, once you stitch those, and if you have, you know, a line that's left, when you take your iron and press it, that line disappears. So these are a great little tool to have. They come in a pack with multi-colors, and they are simply a heat erasable pen for fabric. Some of the other things that I just kind of want to touch on today, and I've got my little list of different applique tips. A lot of times people will ask me, you know, how do you get into the points? And one of the things that what I would say to you is, if you are working on a really small piece, then adjust your width to a narrower width, whether it be a satin stitch or a blanket stitch. Adjust your width to a narrower width. So typically, like if I'm using a blanket stitch, I'll go anywhere from a 1.5 up to a 2.2. If it's a bigger piece, I'll do it at a 2.2 because I like it to be a larger stitch. In this case, where you would say come down to a point like this, which is really fine, I would bring my needle down here, leave my needle down, and then before you turn it, I'll take a stitch back into the piece so it doesn't come across. So that's kind of how you can get that so that all your stitches stay within the applique. Another thing that I like to do, and let's say you're, and Kaytlyn, I'm going to ask you to hand me that little towel right there. Say this little cat. In this case, when I am appliquing two colors together that are like, sometimes it's hard to see the piece. And so what you can do is either with a water or disappearing quilter's pen or with the pen that you iron and it goes away, before I stitch it, like because I've got gold on gold, I'll go around this with my pen so that I can see the piece a little bit more. And that way it kind of simplifies then that that's the outline of what you want to follow. Just a little tip that I've discovered over the years as far as when I get frustrated when colors are the same, that will take care of that. Small points, again, mirror your stitch if using a blanket stitch and go in reverse so you're not turning everything all of the time. That is something that will help. A lot of times people ask me what thread I use, and there are a lot of different really good threads out there. Honestly, when I bought my machine and I use a Bernina, it was recommended the Isocord thread, and I love it. We do carry it, and it's on our website. It's a beautiful thread. We have it to match all our colors, and so that is the one that I use. But there again, there's a lot of good threads out there. So another thing is my machine has a lock stitch on it. So when I first start stitching, it has a lock stitch. If yours doesn't, do a back stitch. Take a couple stitches, do a back stitch. And then when you get to the end, I usually do a couple of back stitches just to secure that in, and that will keep your threads from coming loose. We hope you've enjoyed this video. We've tried to give you a little insight into, how we do things. And one thing we always want to say is if you have questions or you're frustrated with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, either by email or by phone. We are available all the time. Our website is thewholecountrycaboodle.com. All of our products are on there. Our fabric that we designed for Henry Glass Fabrics is available on our website, and we send out a newsletter that you might want to sign up for. You'll get a free pattern if you do that, and that is available to sign up for also on our website. So we hope you enjoy this. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out, and we just say happy sewing.